Good evening and welcome to Forge from Iron. I'm Duke. I am joined by Mr. Gates, who is still off camera from the last time we did a show. Gates, have you still not got any sleep or what? What's going on?
No, nothing like that. It's just that sort of like I'm buzzing around and I'm eating me dinner.
That shop didn't go too well. Is that what you said?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
You had them duck flips.
Yeah. If that's what
is that what you've had done?
Yeah, it is what it is.
I'll tell you what, mate. Tonight we are joined by some cracking guests.
Oh, really? So, do tell.
Yeah, let's bring in the big man himself. No doubt. Right, I'm going to introduce this man as Play 12, won 7, drawn 4, lost 1. He is Fat Boy Fever. Good evening, James.
The stats don't lie, people. The stats don't lie. That's what I'm going to say.
Oh, I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. How you doing, buddy? You good?
All good, mate. All good. Bit gutted about the weekend, as everyone else is. But you know what? We move on. Burnley next.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but all we can do is move on and play the next 5, really, isn't it? And then just hope we get a bit of luck elsewhere more than anything. Let's bring in the singing happy drunk, as I've affectionately now become to know him. There he is. Good evening, Andy. How you doing? Andy, are you on mute or are you just like...
I'm winding you up. I'm winding you up. Silent disco.
You know what? Listen. Scott's just said it himself in the chat, right? He's only just finished last week's stream, which took 3.5 hours ago. 3.5 hours to record. Let's not go there again, can we? I don't think I've got the energy for it. Who else we got? Oh, I'll tell you what, we've got a couple of overseas guests. We have Be Polite, James. Okay, Fever. Be polite. We got Cattle. Good evening, Cattle. He's going to be polite. We're not going to let him pick on you tonight. If not, Andy's going to start singing half a match.
No, he needs to stop. But I don't want to be bullied.
No, we don't appreciate bullying on Forge from Iron. And last but not least, all the way from Canada, of all places, and it's not Peach, sadly. It's the other great man from Canada. We have James. Oh, hang on, I pressed the wrong button. Hang on. No, yes, there we go. I'm no good at this. We have Mr. Emil. What's the face for?
Why'd you get rid of me?
Well, I pressed the wrong buttons twice, to be fair, mate. Listen, that ain't my job. Him over the far side that way. No,
joint effort between you and Gatesy. It's a joint effort.
Well, yeah, I know it's a joint effort, but he doesn't let me press buttons. I'm not allowed
fair
to.
Enough. You press his buttons.
Yeah, I press his buttons. That's why he's off screen, off camera. Right, let's take some comments. Oh, don't start singing, for God's sake. Evening, Scott. Hope you're well, sir. We've got a newbie in the chat. Good evening, H. How are you, my darling? Good to see you. What else we got? That's it. We just got Scott. Oh, it's only the two that have commented. Come on, it's for an interview in the chat. Come on. Ken. Good evening. He's coming to rescue. Tough game Monday. No, it's not tough game Monday. We're going to win that 4-0, but we'll come to that shortly. Guys in the chat, put anything you would like us to discuss as part of this show. I've got a couple. First of all, Gatesy, we're going to bring you in. Where's he gone? I'm going to beat him with a stick. There he is. Right, he's back now. Gatesy.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to you about what you mentioned earlier. So, fire away, sir.
Which particular one? The one about Mr. Moyes?
First one. Yes, Mr. Moyes, sir. Mr. Moyes.
Okay, so Mr. David Moyes, it has been reported, I am reliably informed, has run away with the London Football Awards Manager of the Year award. And in my opinion, well deserved.
Yes.
And Fabianski. Fabianski's got an award as well now.
He's got the goalkeeper
Has
of
he?
the year award. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll
wow,
put it in the
nice.
private chat. There we go. You can share it if you want. Put it up on the screen and shit.
Ah, beauty.
I'll let you do that, Gatesy. You mess around with the buttons. So yeah, I mean, so who was that? Who's that voted by, Gatesy? Where's that all come from?
It's I'm not exactly sure. I had it on a Twitter. Hang on a minute. Let me just.
It's only nominations. Have they won them yet?
No, he's won it.
Won it.
Oh, he won it.
It's if you go
Lovely.
onto Twitter, put in at the LFA official, and I'm looking at the tweet here.
Oh,
and
I just
says,
got it there
Well,
now. Yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
Lamella's won Goal of the Year award over Lanzini.
Of course you do.
Bloody Spurs, man.
Yeah.
They've got to win something. They've won a trophy. They can open the cabinet. Way!
Hey, come on, you know. Still a lot of dust in it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Gatesy, are you getting this message about the issue with Facebook, sir?
About what? Sorry.
The issue from recording and streaming to Facebook. Are you seeing this?
No, I saw something about this that someone put up yesterday. Are they still having issues?
It looks like it. Just we'll remove it. If anyone wants to watch us, they can watch us over on YouTube.
I saw someone put up yesterday it was either yesterday or this morning, something about that through StreamYard. So yeah, they've obviously got issues there. I wasn't aware that was still carrying on.
Let's go and sort them out.
Oh, it don't like me, Gatesy. I'm going to leave it. Whatever it's doing, is whatever it wants. So yeah, listen. I mean, this award that he's won, been nominated for, had whatever. I mean, listen. I don't want to get carried away with anything, but for me, it's just recognition for David Moyes, is it not? For what he's deservedly done. Leaving Ben Rama at the team. I'm digging. He's going to bite. He's going to bite.
Are we already starting? Are we already starting?
No, I'm only playing. No, do you reckon this is a start of things for him? Because I think, Gatesy, was it you that mentioned not so long ago that you think he probably deserved to win, Manager of the Year, or at least be in contention for Manager of the Year?
Oh, without a doubt, in my opinion. I mean, look, let's be honest about it. Now, Manchester City are going to win the Premier League. Fantastic achievement. But let's be honest with you. I mean, Pep Guardiola could literally go out and buy any player on the face of this planet tomorrow that he wanted to.
Yeah.
David Moyes can't. Not only that, but in the last 3 seasons before this, Pep Guardiola has won 2 Premier League titles. David Moyes has taken a team in the space of a year, just over, and he's taken them from relegation candidates to Champions League candidates. That is a massive, massive turnaround.
Yeah.
If he wasn't to get exactly, that's what I say. Sort of like Pep Guardiola can buy any player, and David Moyes can't. I mean, David Moyes, the budget that he's had to work with has been, they're night and day. Manchester City, like I say, he could literally go out and buy any player you could care to mention tomorrow, and it wouldn't make a dent in their finances. It just wouldn't. Whereas we are not operating on the same level as them. So David Moyes, in my opinion, had to be in the conversation. Let's be honest. The League Managers Association award, the Premier League award, that's going to go to the guy that wins the Premier League. It virtually always does. It's going to go to Pep Guardiola. But for goodness sake, I mean, give David Moyes a little bit of recognition.
If we get top 4, I think he wins Manager of the Year as well, in my opinion.
I don't know. I think he should. Don't get me wrong, Milesy, but I think it will go to the usual suspect.
Chris Wilder didn't win it last. If Chris Wilder didn't win it, Moyes won't win it.
There you go.
Fair comment, Mr. Fever. Your opinion?
Well, you got Scott Parker, who's fighting relegation. You got Roy Hodgson, who does crap for Palace. You got Arsenal, who are mid-table. Then you got Chelsea, who have changed their manager. Tottenham, who have changed their manager. And David Moyes is the only one who's been there all season, who's been a success. So it's a no-brainer, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But let's not get carried away and think that he's Harold Houdini. He's done well. he has done well, and he's also done some things that haven't been so well. So, yeah, he's done well. Does he deserve it? Yeah, he's been there all season. Like, obviously, Chelsea lost Lampard, and Tottenham just sacked Mourinho. And when you weigh it up, he's the best London manager in the league because he's been there the longest.
Fair enough. Mr. Anvil.
Deserved it. Yeah, he deserves it, really, because, like I say, like we keep saying with Moyes, what he's done with the team's fantastic. And when you say fantastic, it's not on the level of, he's gone and beaten in the season and won shit tons of trophies. It's the more in-depth side of it. It's the fact he's got West Ham from relegation shit into a dangerous-looking team with very limited resources. And that's what the emphasis is, very limited resources. Because, all right, you've got managers such as, although it's been Jose Mourinho, who was doing well at Spurs, but he had the budget. He was obviously a world-class manager anyway. He was doing very well with what he had in the team. So that's all right. That was all right. I'm saying that's a fair point. You've got Scott Parker, like we say, who's fighting for relegation with Fulham, is doing an all right job despite the circumstances of what his club's in. We got Roy Hodgson, who's the tooting Triceratops because he's a bloody dinosaur. We got well, I can't think who else is in London. Well, Tuchel wasn't going to get it because he's just new. It's nothing to do with him being the longest here. It's just the fact that it's worked. The fact that Moyes has worked wonders with the team, and it's deserved. And why is it saying goal?
Chelsea.
Who please scored?
Werner, I think.
No, Pulisic.
Well,
Pulisic, sorry.
That's all right. I mean, how did we let bloody Werner score against us?
We'll come to that. Hold your horses.
We always let players that are on a bad goal-scoring run score against us, James. You should know.
I know. Well, I feel stupid now for saying it. Of course, bloody do. Of course.
Cal, talk to me. What do you reckon, Moyes?
Yeah. There's no questions asked for it. Like, of course he deserved it. He's been arguably the best sort of manager in building something from nothing in the league, no matter just London. Like he has to. He had to have won it. It's kind of the obvious pick. Unless there was Tuchel there the whole year, there was no one else going to grab it other than Moyes.
Yeah, but what do you reckon then about the Manager of the Year award? Personally, I agree. Ken put it in the chat earlier. I think Miles has touched on it. With regards to Manager of the Year, I mean, he's worked wonders on practically very little budget. Don't get me wrong. When you look at, you look at our spend compared to some of the others when we bought in Ben Rama, etc. There's been a bit of cash spend there. Not a huge amount. Not compared to, the likes of, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool. I mean, they spent some money. We spent very, very little compared to it. So, as far as I'd be concerned, I'd think he should be at least in the running for, PFA. Any of that. He should be in the running for manager.
He'll get nominated for them. It's just I can't see him winning it because that's just not the way it goes with them sort of things. They go for the ones with the most trophies, especially if Pep wins he's basically won the league already. He's won the League Cup. If he goes and wins Champions League, I know that doesn't technically go towards it, but they'll of course think of that. Like I don't think anyone could beat Pep. As I said, if Chris Wilder couldn't win it last year with how big of an achievement he had, no one's going to beat the league winner.
Yeah, but I think I could probably win the league and the League Cup if I had his finances. To be fair, mate. I mean, I think Moyes giving them sort of finances. I think any of us six sitting here could win the Poxy Premier League, get to the semi-finals of the Champions League, win the League Cup, etc., etc. So I don't necessarily.
Well, he was given them sort of finances, and he bought Fellaini with it. You see, that's why Man United fans don't like him.
Yeah, listen, he was on a hiding for nothing, no matter what.
What I will say, What I will say is, when he was at Man United, he did good in terms of his own
And he
ability,
didn't
but not
get
Man
the time.
United's.
He didn't.
Yeah,
He didn't get the time, and he got an old team. He got a dead
yeah.
team.
He was left with a shit squad from the start.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. I mean, you look at half of that squad; they were on their way out. They were literally.
That's why Ferguson was too smart
to
stay around.
Yeah, you know, and you know what? Yeah, I mean, listen, it is what it is, and you know, like I say, for me, should he be in the running? Yes. Should he be nominated? Without a doubt. Do I think he should win it? Yes. I think he deserves a bit of manager of the month, manager of the year. I think he's been consistent. You know, that's the reason we're where we are. It's not been easy for him. He's, you know, with the injuries that we've had, and he's still produced results at certain points of the season. So I just think, you know, it is what it is. Moving on to Saturday and the wonderful red card, and we discussed this on Sunday afternoon. Wasn't a red. Do I think it screwed us? I think it prevented us from throwing the kitchen sink at Chelsea in the last 10 minutes. You know, I think it prevented us going all out and not worrying. I think I think it gave us a little bit of concern behind us, and I just think we couldn't throw that forward. But it came out today that it's been rescinded, and that now makes 5 of the last 8 have now been rescinded. 5 of our last 8 straight red cards have been rescinded. Now, I've been taking this on Facebook with the comment conspiracy. Any of you guys like to weigh in? I'll start with you, Milesy. Do you want to weigh in on this one?
Yeah, it is, mate. Like, the standard of the refereeing is just atrocious anyway. And some members of TalkSport I actually got quite a bit of time for, and the two I actually have got a bit of time for is Adrian Durham and Darren Goff, because don't support a big 6 side, and they just say it how it is. And they were talking about how bad the decisions were, and they were mentioning all the others as well. And it's like Adrian Durham's convinced that that was a penalty what we should have got on Saturday as well. If that was the other way around, in my opinion, that gets given. Me personally, I agree with it. Dave and X on the West Ham way, they say it as well. The ref should be in a league exactly the same as what we are, and it's like a relegation. They've got the threat of being relegated to the Football League. If they perform bad, they get deducted points, and at the end of the season, the five worst refs get demoted, and the 5 from the Championship come up. I think they should face punishment, but we've said it all the time, they should come out and admit what they've done, but they'll never do that because they're protected. But yeah, I agree, it's definitely a conspiracy.
Mr. Fever?
Was it a red card? No, in my opinion. It's happened to us a few times. Was it a penalty? Not for me. I don't believe so. I think the ball, his arms to his side, his arm's not in an unnatural position, so it ain't a penalty, in my opinion. I don't look at it like with red cards and all that, because some of the red cards that we have got this year, we have deserved, like the Craig Dawson fiasco up at Newcastle. Souček obviously wasn't one. And yeah, there's no conspiracy. Well, we are 5th because we're 5th. Because we're the 5th best team in the league, and we haven't won games that we should have done, i.e. Newcastle away, Brighton at home, etc. So yeah, there's like, it's been rescinded. It was always going to be rescinded, I think, because to get a red card for kicking the ball away is not in the laws of the game. And yeah, there's not else I can say on it, really, mate.
Cal, talk to me. Tell me your opinions. Penalty, not penalty?
I wouldn't think it's a penalty, but I can see that the sort of conspiracy angle of it, that if it was them, it would have been given to them. I can see that. So that kind of, it's sort of it's a double-edged sword sort of thing. Like, I could see it 100% being given to them just because of that sort of big club bias that seems to be going around. But in general, I don't want them sort of things given as penalties, because how are you meant to defend? Like it hit off his body and go on. But I could 100% see it given to a bigger club. That's the sort of the annoying part of it, because you can see the conspiracy side to it, and I do believe that things like that are sort of happening.
I think. Sorry to add. Sorry.
Go on, Andy. Sorry.
Sorry. The thing. What I want to say is, like, everyone says that he didn't, but he's saying he didn't move his hand, but he moved his body, so it hit his arm. It's not like he was standing up straight and it hit his arm. The fact that he moved his body.
It's not a penalty. If we're going to start giving, if we're going to start giving penalties for that, we're going to have penalties every day of the week, every game.
Ethan, that's what Adrian Darren was saying. Some have been given.
I'll come with that in 2 seconds. Because there's something on that I do want to cover. Scott, leave off. Who now?
No one.
Who now? Gatesy, can you bring up Alex's comment again, please? Alex Naismith. Whatever he's talking about. Yeah, that one. Alex, I will cover that shortly. That is part of my agenda this evening, so I will come to that. So I've written that down, and we will cover that. James, talk to me about the red card and the penalty incident from your eyes, sir.
Bollocks, basically. The red card were bollocks, because I said in my aftermath video on my own channel, Balbuena's basically just been sent off for doing his job. He's tackled and his momentum's taken him a bit further and contacted his boot onto the player's leg. Completely accidental. Balbuena didn't go into that thinking I'm going to snap his leg off. And even the fact that the referee had to go up to the booth just shows, one, a dependency on this technology, and two, a bit of an irony, because we were calling for VAR to stop things like Lampard's disallowed goal in the World Cup and things like Thierry Henry's handball from further back than that, to make the right decisions, to make those decisions fair.
Careful bringing that up, because the man next to you is going to start crying again.
Bird's eye view. I forgot. Bird's eye view. To get like, sorry, Cathal, like a bird's eye view of a decision. That's why we wanted VAR in it. If VAR exists, then how come there are so many shit decisions being given? I'll tell you why. It's because the people who are running it and the referees who are having the final call on something stupid. Red card wasn't a red card. The penalty was, in my opinion, a penalty, because even after he touches it, Azpilicueta does that. So that's suggesting that it's in a way that it's contacted his arm, even if he doesn't admit it.
Yeah, but can I say something there? If that's a penalty against us, would all you be complaining?
No, because they've been given. They've been given in other.
It's not a penalty. How can you give a penalty to a man when his arms are down?
One of the main problems with the refereeing is the inconsistency, though. There is not an ounce of it. Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, but every incident is a different incident at the end of the day. So you've got everything is going to be different. You can look at Cafal's challenge against Rudiger 2 minutes later or 3 minutes later after Balbuena got sent off. Right, they're both the same incident, but it's different variables. But let's be honest here, if that was given against us, every West Ham fan in this room and up and down the land would have been going berserk. And
because we'll be saying it's a conspiracy. We'll be saying it's a conspiracy because Chelsea got the penalty.
Yeah, I know, but it's not a penalty for me, man. It's not a penalty.
I'm not saying it's a penalty, but penalties have been given. That's the point I'm making.
I have no doubt, and I'll tell you what. I'll come to this in a second. Let me bring Gatesy in before I cover my last bit around the Chelsea game. Gatesy, give me your opinion on this one, buddy.
Hang on a sec. I'm just sorting out. I'm just coming through on the.
Yeah. See, I agree with Luke.
Look at Father Christmas going on.
Holy shit.
What Luke's just said there is bang on the money. Please, lads, don't blame the ref. He was good up until then. VR tell him to go and have a look at it, follow the instructions. What can the ref on the pitch do? Now, let's be honest here.
Make his own decision, James. Make his own decision. And for me, at the end of the day, it's the referee's final decision on the pitch. And the second he's told to go have a look, and
but we all know.
The referee didn't blow up for a free kick, James. Even he played on because the ball was cleared.
Yeah, no, but we all know, as football fans here, when you slow something down, it looks worse. So, like, you could slow it down, and it's going to look 1,000 times worse than. I don't really blame the ref there. If I'm honest, I blame VAR for getting involved. If VAR don't get involved, the game carries on, and no one's none the wiser.
For me, they're both as bad as each other, and the reason I say that is the referee didn't see anything wrong. He didn't see anything wrong with it. He allowed the play to go on. VAR in his ear roll, yap. Then tells him to go have a look. Now, the referee can still make his own decision. Whether that's slowed down or not, in real time, that is, you can see there's nothing in it. In real time, even in slow time, knowing what went on and knowing that the referee saw what went on in real time, the referee still made the decision to send him off. VAR didn't say send him off. VAR's gone, we think it could be a red. We suggest you go have a look. The referee goes and has a look. The referee then chooses to send him off. They are both as culpable in this as each other.
Of course, yeah, right.
Which brings me to my next subject quite nicely. Gatesy, let me get your opinion. Gatesy, give me your opinion.
My opinion is the red card was a joke to have a player sent off for doing what a defender is supposed to do, clear his lines. There was no way that there was no intent, there was no malice. And 2 seconds later, Ben Chilwell's up, he completes the game, and I believe he's playing tonight, isn't he?
Sure, yeah. And Real Madrid have just equalised.
So that's how badly, off Ben Chilwell got. And we discussed it the other day. The Ogbonna, the Martial challenge on Ogbonna at Old Trafford in the FA Cup, wasn't even given as a foul. And Ogbonna, as a result of that, had 2 months out of the game. Now, I know one was a challenge and one was a player kicking the ball away. But the fact remains, if a Ogbonna got injured, and he was out for 2 months, and Chilwell was absolutely fine. And as I say, it wasn't a challenge. I've heard a lot of people refer to it as a challenge. It was not a challenge. He was clearing the ball. He was doing what he's supposed to do. I mean, Paddy Power put out that tweet saying, professional footballer gets sent off for kicking a football, and that was essentially what happened.
That's all that happened.
Moving on to the penalty, I do agree with James. Personally, I think if that penalty is given against us, we're screwing. We're absolutely up in arms and foaming at the mouth. I know people can turn around and say, but it struck his arm. But to be fair, his arm's in my opinion, in what I would consider to be a natural position. If anything, he looks like he's trying to get his arm out of the way, sort of thing. As you can see, the ball's coming. Hang on, let me finish. Right, he's trying to get his arm out of the way, trying to sort of because obviously if it's out here and it strikes him, it's got to be a penalty. So he's trying to get his arm out of the way. It's then hit him on the side. It's then popped up. He can't possibly get his arm out of the way. Once it's hit him on the side and he realises that the ball's going to hit him in about six inches, he can't possibly get his arm out the way. So for me, absolutely no way was that a penalty. But it's interesting that of our last 8 straight reds that have been given against us, 5 have been overturned. That's 62.5% failure rate. Now, I'm not going to turn around and say that there's a conspiracy, because I don't want to go down that route, because it makes us sound like a bunch of whingers, and I don't like that. All I will say is that is quite concerning from a point of view of officiating standards, I would argue. I mean, if you were sort of like to say, I'm not expecting every red card to not be able to be overturned when put on appeal. That's not realistic. But that's quite a high number. If you were to turn around and say, of every 8 that were given by the on-pitch official, 2 of them got overturned, you'd probably go, that's probably about right. 3, now you're starting to sort of push it a little bit. 4, So we're saying half of the decisions are wrong. Well, we've gone beyond that point here. I mean, 5 out of our last 8 straight reds have been overturned. And as I say, that from an officiating point of view, as I say, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying conspiracy. If other people want to say conspiracy, that's up to them. I would hope there's not a conspiracy
we
there.
claim to be the best league in the world, and that just doesn't show it, does it?
No, to me,
that's the thing is. That's the thing is that sort of like, we're a league that prides ourselves on having the highest standards on, players, managers, coaches, this, that, and the other. Yet some of the officiating, I have to say, is a little bit lax. But then again, flipping it on its head, to be fair, some of the rules I think are completely ridiculous. Like the rule about the linesman keeping his flag down until the player that's clearly offside makes a move towards the ball. But I've seen it a couple of times where the player that's in the offside position then goes and puts a challenge in on a goalkeeper or a defender, and that, they sustain an injury. And now they're being subbed off. Well, if that flag had gone up when it should have done, that situation doesn't come to pass.
So tell me this then. You say his arm is in a natural position, Gatesy, and I'm going to come to you with this one. Not in a million years, mate. His elbow, this part of his arm, here, is level with his kneecap. He is leaning to one side as that comes off his chest and it's his arm. Don't tell me his arm's in a natural position.
If that's given against us, Duke, are you taking it? If that's given against us, Duke, are you taking it?
I would.
Doesn't matter whether I'm taking it. It's a penalty. Either way, it's a penalty.
That's your opinion.
That is harsh, mate. That is harsh.
That's your opinion. That's fine.
We went.
The rules have changed.
The rules are different. There's two distinct handballs laws. There's two distinct handball laws. One for defending, one for attacking.
Listen. There's 2 rules.
No, but that's the problem, Duke. You've got 2 different handball laws.
Depends where it strikes him on the arm.
You've just said yourself. But you've just said he can't get his arm out of the way. What's Declan Rice going to do?
But again, but he scored a goal.
Can I just ask something? What Declan Rice is he on about? Are you on about Sheffield United?
One at Sheffield.
Right, the one at Sheffield United, they changed the rule this year, halfway through the season. So we can't talk about that one. The rule is, their rule prior to that was if it hits the arm, it's a foul. It's a free kick.
To be chalked off.
Yeah, the goal has to be chalked off. Now that rule's changed. It's basically if his arm is in a position where it's unnatural, then it's a penalty. And if that happens to us on Monday, every person in this chat and every person on this stream will be going berserk. And don't say you wouldn't, because I would be going berserk.
But there's consistency. This is the point I'm making. If this was the other way around, if this was a top 4 team or the Sky 6, that's a penalty.
I agree. There's an inconsistency. I completely agree. There's an inconsistency.
You can't keep saying conspiracy. Right, that's just a quick and easy excuse. No, it's an excuse. It's an excuse. We're 5th in the league. No, it's an excuse. I say it again, so it goes in. It's an excuse.
Because it ain't an excuse. No, that's bollocks.
It is an excuse.
It really ain't, because so you're telling me there isn't a big club bias. There isn't that Sky 6, that European Super League 6 bias.
Not really. Well, that's a blame game. That's a blame game.
I'll tell you now. The Premier League will do fuck all to those 6 because they need them in the Premier League. The Premier League will do fuck all because they want Chelsea in the top 4 alongside the others, because they know the other 2 aren't going to get there. The other 3 aren't going to get there. They want Chelsea in the top 4 with the other 3 big clubs that are there. I'm telling you now.
It happened the last year at Upton Park. Them decisions at the end of the season cost us getting Champions League football. The Checo Chiarti sending off. What was rescinded?
Yeah, I know, but you can't keep saying about sendings off, because you've got Brighton at home where we went with fucking 8 of defensive-minded players, right? You've got other teams like Newcastle away when you're setting up 5 at the back. Like, don't come at me with conspiracy when we're setting up like we're fucking in a relegation battle.
We're not saying conspiracy is the reason. I'm not saying it. I've been slugged off for saying it as it is.
Yeah, but I'm honestly, my mind, and I really think. But James, you've given me 3 games there. You've given me 3 games.
I can give you more if you want. I can go through and like, well, we've done it numerous times this season. And I'll tell you what I don't want you to do. No, go on. Actually, no, go on. No, like you're coming out. Everyone's coming out with conspiracy here, like it's an excuse. Like it's all on us. It happens to everyone. What about the Aston Villa home game when Ollie Watkins goes through and scores a goal and it gets ruled out for offside, but doesn't get given as a penalty? I don't see you all sitting there moaning saying, "Oh no, it's conspiracy."
But that's the thing with VAR. No, because the thing with VAR is when it's in your favor, when it's obviously in your favour. When the decision's gone in your favour, you're happy about it. When it's gone against you, obviously you're pissed. That's just natural. Every team's actually going to do it, believe it or not.
You know, but don't be saying it's a conspiracy for one thing and not for another.
I'm not saying it's an excuse.
Advantage was played. After the penalty, the advantage was played. Therefore, the advantage was played, James. In the same way that the advantage was played when Dawson was sent off against Newcastle. Advantage was played. Therefore, the goal was given, then he went back, but he played the advantage. Newcastle fans would have been up in arms if an advantage hadn't been played because they would have given him the second yellow. The referee did the right thing. The referee did the right thing in the Villa game. He played the advantage, and guess what? He scored the goal. It was then dragged back for offside. Fuck the fact that it was a penalty. I agree. It should have been given as a penalty before the ball at the back of the net. And they didn't. The referee played advantage because he was in the goal. So that's null and void. That one's null and void as far as I'm concerned. You can't have that one because the referee played.
I'll just give you one example. It's just like
but that's my point. You can't. That's not an example.
It's not a conspiracy, mate.
I didn't say conspiracy. I didn't say conspiracy. I said big club bias, and the Premier League and the referees are biased towards these so-called big sticks. And it's not just against us. It's not just against us. It's throughout the league. Look at all of that.
No one said it was just against us.
I promise you now, there is a bias from the Premier League and the referees towards the so-called big sticks.
I think that's well established, in fairness. I think that's well established that there is a sort of psychological fear, if you will. That I will agree with you. As I say, I'm not going to say conspiracy because I fundamentally disagree with. But there's been many referees, and I know I'm going back a little bit, but I know sort of like a lot of referees back in the day said how fearful the referees were of Sir Alex Ferguson, of getting the hairdryer treatment from him, or any other of the sort of like the big managers. So I don't disagree.
You've got fucking do your job.
The only
you're going to get a bollocking because another manager reckons you've got it wrong. If your opinion is that you got it right, do your fucking job.
There's loads of examples that I could give, like the Tottenham away game, right? If we was saying big club biased, the goal that Lanzini scored would have been chalked off because Harry Winks gets fouled by a Bonner, or Yarmolenko pushes Bale. So when he goes through 1-on-1, so don't come at me with big club bias. Do you know what I mean? It's different courses for different horses at the end of the day.
So you're telling me that a top six side has never been biased by a referee? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, mate, of course there has. But don't come at me with this season. This season, we're fifth in the league. We're fifth in the league because we're fucked up against shit teams like Brighton home and away. No, Brighton at home and Newcastle home and away. That's why we're not where we are.
I agree. We've got to take some responsibility.
Because Chelsea haven't fucked up against West Brom. Liverpool didn't fuck up against Fulham. Anyone got any more for me while I'm here? Just quickly.
It's true, isn't it? It's true because, like, if you're going to say big club bias,
Liverpool, Burnley.
I'll just give you two facts.
No. Nah, see. But what I'm saying is, you can't say that we're fifth. You can't say we're fifth because we've lost against shit clubs or we've played shit against Brighton, etc. Guess what? So have they. But in the bigger decisions, James, when the decisions needed to be counted and the referees needed to stand up and be held accountable for what they're doing, they bottle the fucking decisions and give it to the big clubs.
Well, name me another decision this season that's gone that we haven't got. I can only name one. I can name one.
I didn't say it was just us. I didn't say it was just
And
us.
I can name
I said
one
there were
decision
other
where it was absolutely moody, and that was the Manchester United home game when the ball nearly ended up at Stratford Station. That's the only one I can think of. The Arsenal one is a bit iffy. The Tottenham one, there was 2 fouls there where we could have got 2 fouls, but we didn't get none, and we ended up drawing the game 3-3. So look at it. Look at how you want to see it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy against us. This is the point that we're trying to make. This is what I'm saying. The big six. This happened. I know you keep saying we bring up the past. I was trying to explain it earlier. The last year at Upton Park, them last 5 or 6 games, the refereeing decisions, what we had, half of them red cards or whatever, what were rescinded, and that cost us getting top 4. Them ref decisions cost us getting top 4.
Listen, at the end of the day,
London Stadium,
right?
there was a black cab right offside.
At the end of the day, it won't be the referees' decisions that cost us top 4. Let's get that right here.
I'm not
It'll
saying
be Newcastle home and away.
It's partly that.
Losing.
Yeah.
Right?
It's partly that. It's partly us not getting points when we needed it. But referees' decisions, definitely played a role in it.
Let's be honest here. It's a small part.
Yeah,
It's not a big
right.
part. It's
I'm
about
not saying it's
10%.
completely the referees' fault. We've got to take some responsibility for our own actions.
But you are agreeing that there is a big club bias.
Oh no, I never said that. I didn't actually say
No,
that.
I won't talk to you below me. You just said there is a small part. So therefore,
Well, obviously, we've had decisions this year. Obviously, we've had decisions this year that hasn't gone our way, i.e., Souček versus Fulham. Now, Fulham are big 16, no. So, do you know what I mean? Like, you can't have it both ways.
I'm not saying just against us, though. I don't. Anyway.
No, James. McCarthy cost us top 4 in 2016. Crookie for you for 2 months. Yeah, fair enough.
Right. Let's move on to because I can see this is not going to get us nowhere. And Milesy,
But that's the whole point of the show, Duke.
Yeah,
That's the whole point of the shoot. We all disagree.
No,
It'd be boring otherwise.
So, let's talk about.
I can tell you what we can agree on one thing. I was drunk on Friday.
Fucking massive. Oh right, okay, yeah. No, you were. So, Alex's question earlier, right? He mentioned that the burden. Gatesy, could you possibly find it and bring it back up for me?
I shall. Bear with me.
So, Alex mentioned about the burden of European football next season on the squad we've got, and I want to discuss the three different Euro competitions that we are still in the running for. Let's not mess around. We're still in the running for Champions League. We're still in the running for Europa League, and I can't see us finishing lower than 7th. So therefore, we're in the running for the new European Euro Conference League that we've got. So Alex has asked, do we think that we'll be able to cope with European football, or will it be a burden, obviously, on our league form? I'll start with the Champions League then, boys. And James Anvil, I'll come to you first. Champions League, will it have an adverse effect on our league form next season if we get into it?
Remains to be seen, really. I mean, we're going to be playing a lot more games, so there's an argument the players would be, one, probably a bit more fatigued or up for it, depending on how you look at it. But what I would say is if we get European football, these owners are probably going to end up getting players in, not just because they want to, but just to add purely to add for the depth. Remember what happened in 2016 when we got into Europa League and got knocked out by that Romanian club? We had loads of players in that team.
Go.
Yeah. We got loads of freebies in just to add to the squad depth, just to cover the Premier League and Champions League for the midweek games. So that's what's going to end up happening if we get into Europe. Anything that we do transfer-wise will be quite reactionary, just to bulk up the squad, because we'll have 2 competitions going ahead of us. With the current squad that we've got right now, we wouldn't stand a chance. Competing in 2 different leagues would be worn down quickly.
Careful.
Yeah, I agree. We definitely don't have the squad for it. Not right now, anyway. We need to bulk it up for sure. But I wouldn't be going out just buying a bunch of free lads from Germany or wherever like we did the last time. We need to do some proper work, get the right lads in. Moyes is very tedious with his transfer market strategies. Anyway, we know that he likes to physically see his players. He likes to get all his sort of research done on them. I couldn't see him going out for an awful lot of people. But if we get a few in, it's been a long season this year. We've been struck by injuries late, but if we got a solid 4 or 5 players who are good enough to play for us right now, you see, we can't be just going and buying lads for the sake of throwing them on the bench, like Nordveit or Gökhan Toure or any of them sort of lads like we did back then. We need to get people who are good enough for us. And I don't know about Champions League, but I think we could get a solid Europa or Conference League run.
James, Mr. Fever.
I don't think we get Champions League now. I don't think we get it, mate. I think even though we're still there, I think other teams are coming up the rear, and I think it's more Europa League for me. So I just don't think we're going to do Champions League now. I think the last 2 games have just pushed that, made that bit convincing for me. So I won't answer on Champions League. So yeah.
Gatesy, Champions League, burden next season or not?
As far as if I broaden it out, I think that if we qualify for European football, obviously I think that the higher the tournament, obviously the better standard of players and teams we're going against, and the more damage potentially it has to do to our season. I don't think it's saying something revelatory or anything to say that this squad, whatever we get into as far as European competition is concerned, or if in the highly unlikely event that we don't, the fact remains is that the squad either way is going to need a hell of a lot of work. We've got players who are injury prone. We've got players who are getting into their sort of towards their mid-30s, early 30s, whatever, who are going to need to be replaced sooner or later. And if we get into let's just suppose for a moment we get into Champions League, that makes that surgery much more of a pressing concern. So do I think it could affect us? Potentially, yes, massively.
And Milesy, Champions League football next season, burden or not?
No, for me, no. I as much as I hate the board, I honestly think they know, even if it's Europa League or Champions League, they know we've got to spend. And the way I see it is, it's not really, even if just say we don't even get out the group stage, I'm just saying that for argument's sake, it's not really that amount of more games than we would play anyway, because you come in the later rounds of the League Cup, so that's another couple of rounds what you get short. So it's not exactly many more games than what we're playing. The only thing to take into account is the travel, but a lot of the players travel on international, so it's not like nothing untoward. Do you know what I mean? It's not like something what they're not used to. So no, I don't. So if we get the players what we want and we spend the 4 or 5, I don't see it being a problem at all.
So I saw something with regards to the Conference League, and I'll cover that in a minute. So then, Mr. Anvil, same question for you, but based around the Europa League competition. Then, is that going to be a burden on our football next season?
Well, it means no. Well, it means no Saturday games. We're playing either Sunday or Monday if we're playing a Europa League game midweek for a start. Europa League, I think, is a better shout for us, I think, in terms of the squad that we've got. But I would like Champions League too, of course. But I think Europa League's more realistic. The thing is, I think this squad would be better suited for the Europa League, but it needs bulking up. Again, it needs investment in it. Because, like I say, we'll be playing 2 games per week in quite short space of time if we qualify for the Europa League. Thursday night, a trip to, I don't know, deepest, darkest Romania. And then a trip back to Stratford in the weekend. We got it all to do, really, and we need investment in the squad. We need players that we can back up each position, because we don't want anybody run down. The Europa League is going to be tiring. You've got travelling to think about, so the fatigue's there as well. You've got running around for 90 minutes in another competition. So we've got to invest in players to help out. Do you know what I'm saying? Players who can step up when others can't because of the Europa League.
No, that's fair enough. Fever?
I think it'd be a struggle, mate. I really do. Thursday, Sunday. We ain't got the bodies as it is now. And I'm not being funny. We need at least 6 or 7, and we've got owners who don't like to spend. So we've got it's a bit of a problem there. And if you've got to go away to a place and you've got to play again the following game, it's just, 1, we haven't got the squad, and 2, they're not used to it, and it'll be like another Wolves all over again. Wolves will probably end up about 14th or something next season. We'll be back to normality.
Milesy, your opinion on this one, sir? Europa League. Do you reckon we've got a squad that can go?
Yeah, like I said, the one thing what I don't understand is, when everyone goes, oh, when we play Thursday, we'll play on Sunday. What difference is it in the Champions League when you're playing a Wednesday and a Saturday? Can someone just tell me what the difference is?
I was just saying it's like an example.
No difference is there. The difference is with Champions League, it's the main places in Europe, and you're going to places like France, Spain, Belgium, Holland. In the Europa League, you can end up in Kazakhstan. That's the difference.
But you're saying Thursday, Sunday, but what's the difference between Wednesday and Saturday?
If you've got to travel to Azerbaijan on the Thursday night, and then you've got to go and play someone like Newcastle on the Sunday, you tell me. Arsenal have gone through it, Tottenham have gone through it, Wolves have gone through it, and they're better teams than us, and they have been better teams than us, and they've struggled. So there you go.
Yeah, no, but I just wanted to know I get what you're saying. Like different.
I don't know whether the Wolves struggled last season. They managed to finish 7th and get to the quarterfinals, James.
Yeah, no, but they've struggled this season, haven't they?
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. But during the course of that season is what we're talking about.
Yeah, but you've also got to understand, Wolves have got players, and they've also got a manager who can galvanise, who can play 2 competitions. Look at us; we're struggling to find a left back at our club. We've got one left back
until we play. It's difficult to judge, isn't it, James? I mean, to be fair, the only way we can really judge him is next season when we have a European competition, and I think at that point we can make a judgment call.
The thing is, with the Champions League,
we can't do that.
The thing is with the Champions League, it's mainly based in Italy, France, Belgium, Holland, Spain. You might have the odd team from Russia, and someone out in like Hungary or somewhere, right, who might qualify, or a Scottish team. But if you've got to go out to places like Kazakhstan or places like that, or you know what I mean, it ain't good. It ain't good. And like they're leaving, like I think I've seen it on AFTV before. They went out to somewhere like Ukraine, and they're out, and there was like martial law and things like that. And it's like, do you know what I mean? You're going out to these places where it's like minus 10 degrees or 15 degrees.
I already have that in Canada, so I'm used to that.
But no, like with regards to the squad, no, I don't. I think we will spend big, like I said on the Champions League comments. I don't think David Moyes will take the, like what you said, Norvites, the tours, and who was the other one, Zaza on loan, for example. Yeah. Oh God, the list goes. The one player I thought got a bit of shit, what I thought was decent, was Faguli, but I might open a few feathers with him. But
I agree. Right. I think he was starting to get to grips with the Premier League towards the end of that season. Actually, I think Nordveit did as well, to be fair.
Faguli's won 2 league titles in Turkey.
Yeah. But no, like I said, I think the squad will be fine. it will be David Moyes' signings. To be honest, I think he would leave if they're not. So yeah, I don't see any. With regards to the burden, no, I don't. I still think we can finish top half if we get Europe either way.
And last but not least, my wonderful co-host, Mr. Gates, tell me your opinion on the Europa League and its effect on our squad then.
I did.
All right, we start with the conference then. Absolute womble. That's me.
Well, no, I'm saying I think that European football will impact us in one way, shape, or form. In my opinion, I think it will be more pronounced with the higher the competition that we qualify for. So I suspect that if we qualify for the Champions League, the effects on our league form will be more detrimental than if we qualify for, say, the Conference League. Because for me, I think that the Conference League, you could get away with maybe putting in a sort of like an under 23 player here or a reserve player there against a team of Romanian carpet fitters or farmers or whatever. And you might get away with it. I'm not saying... Sorry?
You get away with just putting more than one in, wouldn't you? You'd probably put 4 or 5.
Well, yeah. That's what I'm saying. But in that tournament, what I'm getting at is obviously in the sort of like the lesser quality, if you will, competitions. You know, as you go down the ladder from Champions League to Europa League to Conference League, you could obviously get away with putting in a few more players like that, and it possibly having less of a detrimental effect, A, on your progress in that competition, but also B, you know, on the sort of like the league season at large. But like I say, you know, I agree with what James has said. I think a lot of it boils down to what competition we're in and what money the people at the top of the club put in to strengthen. That's the bottom line.
What's the gain? What is the gain on the? Because this is one thing I don't know. The 7th place Europa Conference with it. If you win that, where do you end up? Do you end up in the Europa League, or do you just win money?
If you win it,
Europa League.
If you win the Conference League, you get into the Europa League in the same way that if you win the Europa League, you get into the Champions League.
And what's the format of it?
Same thing.
I believe it's basically a sort of like basically the Europa League, but with lesser quality opposition. That's pretty much the long and the short of it.
No, the European Conference is there can only be one club from the main 5 leagues that qualify. If I'm wrong, please someone either speak up now between you 5 or you 4 or the 13 people in the chat. So if I'm right in thinking, there is only one team from the top 5 leagues. So only one team from England, Germany, Spain, France, and Holland.
Are you looking it up, Milesy?
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's only one from the top 5 that can qualify, and then other countries, I think, get 2 or 3. I think if you finish 3rd in the league, 3rd in your group in the Europa League, you drop down into the conference in much the same way as you do from the Champions League into the Europa League. So, for me, all right, I'd love Champions League football in London Stadium all day long. It'd be a fucking dream. And let's be honest, we'd only be a couple of years out from what the toss pots at the top predicted that we'd get, you know. But for me, ideally, it's European Conference. Because for me, our youngsters would help bulk up the squad. I know we were talking about it earlier with the Europa League and with the Champions League, that we need to bulk up that squad with some cheaper signings, freebies, whatnot. For me, we've been sitting here screaming that Odebeku. Go on, mate.
I've got it ready.
Yeah.
So, 32 teams.
Yeah.
Each of the teams go through from the top, and the 10 teams who finish 3rd in the Europa League groups get moved into the Europa League conference knockout stage. So, like like the Champions League and Europa League, you know, the team who finish 3rd get demoted to the Europa League. It's exactly the same as the conference. So it's exactly the same as the Champions League, basically. So, 32 teams.
So for me, with no disrespect to the other countries that are going to be in this, and the reason they've created this was around the fact that we mentioned before, certain sides from Hungary, certain sides from Ireland and Wales and Scotland, who wouldn't necessarily qualify for the top two European competitions, would now qualify for this one. Surely you'd be using players like Odebeko, and James, you probably ain't going to enjoy this, but players that aren't getting Premier League games at the weekend. You'd use Saeed Benrahma if he ain't playing. You'd use Nathan Trott as your goalkeeper. You'd use Alves and Cardoso.
No way what I'm hearing here. No way what I'm hearing. Saeed Benrahma's gone from like Brentford first teamer to like under 23s captain now. That's just mad.
So if he's not playing in the Premier League, you just want him sitting there, not playing in Europe.
Right. I'll tell you what about well, I understand what Duke's saying about Odebeki and all that, but these players don't need Europa League football or European football. They need to go out on loan and play in like Championship for a full season. And it's me and Gatesy spoke about it on numerous occasions. They're too fucking arrogant.
22, 23, we might as well fuck them off.
No, they're too arrogant.
No,
if Chelsea can go on loan 31 players and we've got 8 out on loan. Right, and Chelsea got 31.
James, the Chelsea players, the 31 Chelsea players that are all on loan at the moment, if my memory serves me correctly, are all significantly better.
And they're all in the Netherlands.
Than any we have got.
They're not all in the Netherlands. They're not in the Netherlands.
Vitesse is the one they all tend to go to.
Right, Rufus Loftus-Cheek is in Fulham. The player that we want, supposedly. There's other players
significantly better than what we've got in our under 23 side. Go on, carry on.
Right, and a lot of the other players are on loan. Conor Gallagher, I think it's Sam Gallagher there. I think is another player who's out on loan. If memory serves me right, there's players like Lamptey, right? Lamptey, who was sold to Brighton for £2.2 million. So let's not kid ourselves
because they're not good enough.
Yeah, but the way I look at it is, how can anyone want ours when they're sitting in the under 23s and not bothering to go out on loan? It's a bit of an arrogance, really.
There's my point, James. They're obviously sitting there because they're not good enough to go out on loan elsewhere. Have you ever thought other clubs are looking at them and going, no, we're not coming in for them.
There was, I can't remember who it was last week. I think it might have been Simon Jordan, and he actually said that there's a perception amongst youth players at Premier League clubs that if they go on loan to, say, a Preston North End, a Birmingham City, a Rotherham or something like that, that as far as their value is concerned, it's detrimental to it. And I think that's fundamentally wrong because, you know, if that is the case and you've got players that are saying, I'm not prepared to leave, whether it's West Ham or whether it's Burnley or whatever, you know, to go and test myself, you know, and find out whether I've got what it takes to operate in the Premier League. I think that's completely ridiculous if that's true.
Then you wave them by. I'm not being funny.
But they're on contracts.
Didn't do Beckham any harm. Didn't do Lampard any harm. Defoe, Terry.
But you're talking players that are 20 years ago. That's the thing.
I'll tell you a player who didn't do no harm to. Josh Cullen. And look where he is now.
Well, I'm not saying he didn't, but he was quite willing to go.
But
what Gatesy just said, he said not willing to fucking do it. So fuck him up.
How do we know that clubs are not coming in for him? How do we know clubs are not coming in for him?
How do these clubs know that the shit when they haven't even seen him play? That's why they go out on loan anyway, to get the experience, then we can assess if they're good or not.
Yeah, but by all accounts, James, by all accounts, there's I'm not saying every player, but Simon, I think it was Simon Jordan. He said that there's
Simon Jordan.
I think it was,
yeah. So, you know, you either take him at his word or you don't. I don't say he knows more about football than I do, in fairness.
Let me ask you this then. What is Connor Coventry learning sitting on the bench at West Ham that he couldn't go and learn and go and play for a championship team? And this
Have a championship club came in for him?
Nah, but don't say that a championship club won't come in for him. He's an Irish international. He's young.
I've not asked that. I said, have they?
All right, a League One club.
There's the question. But again, have they? There's the question, James. I'm not saying that they're not good enough to go out on loan. What I'm saying is, why aren't these clubs coming in for them? Because I don't think
we'll never know, will we?
No, exactly that. What Robert said, we will never know. But also, he thinks he's probably cracked it because he's sitting on West Ham's bench. Let's be honest here right now. If I'm sitting on West Ham's bench, right, and I'm thinking, I'm the fucking Charlie Big Bollocks, I've made it now. I'm playing for West Ham United, and some loan club like MK, Portsmouth, Sunderland, who are by far a really, really big club in the North East. And they said, why don't you, do you want to come on loan to us for a season? And he's going to say, fuck that. Why am I going to go and play loan here? I'm at West Ham, mate. I'm sitting on the bench. Like, I'm in the first team. It's all a persona.
Coventry has been out on loan.
So then what you're currently doing is you're kind of, I don't know, you're kind of arguing with one hand that they need to go out on loan, but then defending them as to why they're not. I don't understand where we're coming with this.
No. They need to go on loan.
We've got to get them on loan, and then you're saying, if it was me, I'd be going, no, fuck you, I'm not going nowhere.
No, I'm saying to you, that's what he is saying. Like, I'm using it as an example because there has been numerous times where certain players have had the opportunity to go out on loan and refused.
Okay, right? So you're giving Connor Coventry as an example, yeah? So he went out to Lincoln last season, 2020. He played 7 times. They're League One. So he must be not doing something right. If he must not be that good enough to not get into a League One side.
So he's not that good enough to get into a League One side, but he's good enough to play for West Ham in a Europa
How many games has he played
Conference
for West Ham, James? How many games has he played for West Ham, James?
But he's on the bench.
18 minutes? 18 minutes?
He's on the bench.
Has he played?
He's on the bench.
Nathan Trott's on the bench all season. He's
on the bench, so he could get called to play.
But has he?
If he's on the bench, he could be called to play at any time.
So is Nathan Trott. He's been on the bench
because he hasn't. Yeah, Odebeko was on the bench. He got called to play at 18 years old. He was once. Yeah, and once is too many. And once is too many. Right, so you've got an 18-year-old youth prospect that you want to put out and go, you know what? Yeah, go on, lad. Go and score some goals against Manchester United, your former employee. Right? He went to Lincoln. He didn't crack it at Lincoln. So what'd you do? Just give up? I didn't do it at Lincoln.
You're not come in for him.
That's right. So why has he not gone out on loan? Because me and Rob have discussed this on numerous occasions. We've got 8 first-team players. We've got our striker, our young prospect, Xander Silva. He's over in Greece, and he's gone out on loan. So why comes Connor Coventry?
What's he doing over there?
Well, you tell me.
What is he doing over there?
He's learning his trade.
What we consider. Oh, fuck.
He's learning his trade. He's learning his trade.
Are you mad? He's been doing pretty well.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
Gatesy, you love a stat, son. We were doing the tier list not so long ago, and your exact words were doing fuck all over there.
Well, at the time, I think he. Well, no. To be fair, at the time, I think he'd got 25 games, and I think he'd got 3 goals or something like that. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but the Greek league's not exactly a tough league in terms of European football, and he wasn't pulling up any trees there, statistically speaking. So.
Yeah, but you've also got to give him a benefit of the doubt that he is going and playing.
Listen, he's gone out. Yeah. He's gone out on loan, and I'll take my hat off to him for that. Absolutely, and because I agree that players need to go out and they need to test themselves, and we need to find out. They need to find out whether they're Premier League level, and for me, that's unless they're an exceptional talent like Declan Rice. Sorry,
but we were just discussing that they're not willing to. So then, what do we do if they're not willing to?
Well, that's the problem.
To go out on loan and learn their development. What else is there left to do?
See, for me, I think that before these players signed their first pro contract at 16, I think the clubs need to sit down and say, part of your progression into the first team will involve you going out on loan to the highest club that we can reasonably get you to. And if, as was said by Simon Jordan, that there's this perception, rightly or wrongly, that, hold on a minute, I'm going to go and I'm going to play for Rotherham, I'd rather not, thank you very much, they're shit. Then if that's going to be their attitude when the contract's put in front of them, then for me, don't sign them.
But
100%.
Now,
100% agree with Rob there.
Yeah,
100%.
I do. Couldn't agree more. But here's the thing: now you're opening up a whole new can of worms in all of this. Because if that becomes part of a generic contract, what the club would consider to be, and listen, this is just me putting on that head. What I consider as the player to be a highest level club that I could possibly get to might be a completely different highest level club that you consider I can get to, or the youth team coach considers I can get to, or my agent considers I can get to. So it could well be that I'm Meepo or Afalayan, and he's gone down to Bolton, and fair play to him, he's gone out on loan, but it might be that I'm this player that you as the manager, Gatesy, consider that the best team I'm going to get to this season will be, Salford United in League Two. And I'm thinking I could probably get to Bolton or to Rotherham or, a team in the Championship. So then I'm going to go, well, no, I don't think that's fair that you're going to send me down to League Two when I consider I'm better than that. And I don't think that's the best team that I can get to. And then you're facing that kind of, my opinion, your opinion as a player. Do you see what I mean? So there's a whole,
But I think if you, like I say, I come back to if you're going to sit a kid down at 16, put a contract in front of him, I think at that point, before pen is put to paper, the conversation needs to be had, and it needs to be made clear to these youth players that this is part of your progression. And it may be that you're going to a club that you might look down your nose at ordinarily because you're at West Ham, you're at a Premier League club, and you've obviously got aspirations of playing in the Premier League. But it's not about where you are at that moment in time. It's about where you're going to be as a result. And what needs to be put to these kids is it needs to be put to them. Players like that have trod that path: David Beckham, Gary Neville, John Terry, Jermaine Defoe, Frank Lampard. They need to be.
I agree with what you're saying. Right, I do, Robin. You are right what you're saying. I can't not agree with you. Yeah, when people say Rotherham, Sunderland is a bigger club than Rotherham. Portsmouth, is a massive club, right? On the South Coast.
But the thing is, obviously, is that it's dependent upon the club that comes into them. I mean, yes, it would be nice to say Sunderland or Portsmouth because you're right, they're two huge clubs operating at that level. But the fact is that if Sunderland or Portsmouth don't come in for them, and a Salford or a Forest Green Rovers or a team like that, Bolton, come in, if that's the highest club that player can go to, that player should be going. And if that player's going to turn around and refuse, then for me, if they've signed a contract at 16 that stated that was part of their career path, for me, I would be saying, well, that was part of the contract that you signed, kid. So sorry, you're going to have to swallow that one.
I just want to spin that as well. Sorry, I'll just put it in the chat as well before I say that. So Silva has played 31 games and scored 4 goals. But
let me just say this.
That's in all competitions as well.
Silva is learning more being out on loan than Meepo or the Becky is in the under 23s.
Only thing is he's 24 now. I think as far as Premier League football is concerned, I think he's not up to it. At 24 years of age.
If we allowed Holland to leave, who I thought was going to be, something quite special. He was bigged up and everything else. If we've allowed him to leave at the age he's left, why, with no disrespect to Meepo, why are we even trying to continue getting a tune out of something that, as Fever said, doesn't really work? You know, we tried it once already with even Martinez. We tried it with Martinez. You know, Tony. We tried it with Nathan Holland. We didn't get a tune out of these players. They said there's got to be something fundamentally wrong that if by the time you get to 22, 23, 24, that you're not breaking down the doors of that first team or even getting, you know, that consistent nod off the bench that Mipo's not getting, and we're all shouting for it.
Yeah.
Then something's got to be fundamentally wrong. James,
See, I see what
Andrew. Sorry, Andrew. Company 2 seconds.
You know.
Go on,
do you want me to go now?
Oh, take your pick. I don't.
Go on. Who was it who wanted to say something?
Mr. Anvil, I'm coming to you, sir.
Well, I mean, the thing is with players like Nathan Holland, and he's gone out. He went along to Oxford or somewhere, didn't he? I mean, Martinez went out to Oxford as well. It's just, I suppose, just fate of football because Martinez is now playing for Porto, so he's gone to quite a big European league. I don't know what it is.
How many big clubs in Portugal?
Sporting Lisbon, Benfica, Porto.
Four.
Okay.
4.
So the rest of them are what?
No, I'm not saying the rest of them are tin pot. I'm just saying that he's gone
to.
But
they're not like that. League isn't the same standard as the 20 teams in the Premier League, is it? You know, do you see where I'm going with this? It's not.
But would you say it's the same standard as League One though?
No, definitely not.
What? Not even like the likes of Sunderland, Portsmouth, and teams like that who are playing compared to the Portuguese league with them sort of players. Like Braga are a good team. Sporting Lisbon are a good team. Benfica, Porto. And after that,
Benfica, Porto, Lisbon. Yeah, Benfica, Porto, Lisbon. Put them in our league, and where would they finish in the Premier League on a consistent basis? Where would they finish? And then you take the rest of the Portuguese league, and where would they finish in the Premier League? It's the same as what we talk about with Scotland. No disrespect to Scottish football, but you talk about Scottish football, and you talk consistently about Rangers and Celtic being the only 2 clubs in Scotland, etc., despite the fact that Aberdeen are a big club, get nowhere near that title now. Them 2 are back to doing what they do best. You bring all of them down here, and I even think Rangers and Celtic would struggle for the first few years without the Sky money, etc., etc. What are the other Scottish clubs going to do? And same with Spain. You have your big 3 in Spain, and then the rest of them, they really do fall off a cliff and continue to fall off of the shelf underwater once you get down to the lower standard clubs in La Liga. To the point that it's all well and good that Martinez went and did what he did for them, but he really is playing against championship clubs at best with better players around him. It's like him playing in Scotland for Rangers. He could probably do a job for Scotland with Rangers or with Celtic because he's playing against, no disrespect, not quality players. So that was all I could carry on, Anvil, because that's all I was.
Yeah, I'm just saying that you never know what these players are capable of until they go out on loan. That's why Sandy Silva's out in Greece right now. That's why Afolayan's out at Bolton. That's why Nathan Holland went out on loan a few times. So this is how the club can assess whether a player is good professionally, by sending them out to these lower league clubs. I know the Premier League's a different standard to what the Football League is, but it still gives you a broad idea of what they're like. That's why loans exist. And we talk about Odbeku sitting on the bench for West Ham. I don't think he's doing it just to say in his glory, I was a substitute on the West Ham bench. So was Parfit Williams a few years back, if you remember that name.
Yeah.
He was on the bloody bench in a game against Swansea. He's now playing in Iceland. He don't brag about it exactly. So my point is, these players will never really know what they're truly capable of until they go out on loan. If Odbeku goes out on loan somewhere next season, so be it. I can see it happening. Because not only because he needs the game time, but he needs to show what he can do on the professional level. It's all right him doing it in the under-23s, but can he do it on the professional level? That is where it's going to be decided. But the question is, these clubs do need to be coming in for them, don't they? I think that's Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
we don't listen. We can only assume what goes on behind the scenes. And for that, I mean, it's it is what it is. But we don't know whether clubs are coming in for these players. And I find
I
it very
don't know about
difficult.
you guys, but do you think there's any scope somewhere, whether in this country or overseas, maybe having some sort of link up with a club like Chelsea had or still have with Vitesse Arnhem? I mean, we seem to have got a bit of a working relationship with Slavia Prague. I mean, is there any value in maybe, because I understand that they have, I believe, if I remember rightly, they have a B team that plays in the second or third tier of Czech football, or whether we maybe have a tie up with a club over here, like maybe a Leyton Orient or a Southend or something like that.
An affiliate is what you're looking at, where a bit like what's his name, old dodgy bollocks at Charlton went and didn't he? He basically.
Oh, the Châtelet.
What was the club he had in Belgium, wasn't it?
I think wasn't he Anderlecht?
He was trying to loan.
Yeah.
No, was it Anderlecht? I thought we had another.
Yeah, it must have been Anderlecht.
It might have been
something like that. Yeah.
And he was trying to loan the Charlton kids out there, and vice versa. Listen, I think an affiliate works all day long. I was talking to someone actually in my pub yesterday. We were sitting down, we had some lunch together, and we were talking about the channel, and we were talking about the players going out.
He used to own Standard Liège.
Oh, Liège, that was it.
Yeah. He's still the main shareholder of two other clubs around Europe, one in Germany and one in Hungary.
I mean, the thing is, they made the Premier League under 23 league, didn't they? They made the Premier League 2, if you will, a competitive
I think that
league.
ruined it.
I think that's ruined it. Because there's trophies involved in that, the players want to play in that rather than go out on loan to Rotherham. And I think that could be part of the problem, couldn't it?
Yeah, see, I mentioned that a few weeks ago, wasn't it? Because like in that what is it called? Whatever it's called, I don't know what it's called.
Papa John's Trophy.
League. No, the actual under 23s league. It's called something in particular. I can't remember what it's called. Premier League 2, isn't it? Premier League 2,
yeah.
Yeah. See, the problem is with that is you can only play 3 players over the age of 23. So they should scrap that and just bring it back to reserve team football. And that means, like you said, the likes of Lanzini's and people like that. The more of them, that means more of them can play the reserve games during the week, so they can be match fit. But the one thing what I do want to add is the thing is we could make what we're saying about Conor Coventry. Conor Coventry could have been told by David Moyes, "You're backup. You're not going out on loan." Same as Odebeku. I'm just trying to say. I'm just trying to think of
eight players out of our squad.
Let me finish.
Out of that. Go on.
I'm just trying to think of other excuses why they've not gone out on loan.
They don't fancy it. I don't fancy it. I'm not being funny.
They don't move on to
they
the
don't
next
fancy
point,
it.
Okay, move to the next point, Duke. I can't be asked.
I can't be dealing with people talking bollocks about the age youth players when we've got 8 players who are sitting on loan. You know what I mean? No, he can never moan. He can go and never moan. Right? I've seen him over Dagenham and Redbridge. He's probably never seen him in his fucking life, Andy. I've seen him myself, and I've seen them. I've witnessed them. Nathan Holland done nothing. Big new thing. Who's the? I come to the Anvil. James, who's the bloke who come from Sporting Lisbon or Benfica or somewhere who's out playing in the Swiss 3rd division? Calcello, is it? Or
something like that. Yannick Cardoso, something like that. Yeah.
Gonzalo Cardoso.
Cardoso. Next big thing.
Oh yeah,
comes over here. Yeah, I see him live. Right. I'm standing next to Colton Cole over Dagenham and Redbridge. He says, "You know what? He ain't going to make it. He's not good enough." So I'm not being funny. Half of these players don't want to go out on loan because they've got it too cushy, right? Why would you want to go up north, live up north in fucking digs, right? Sitting there going, you know what? I don't want to be here, right? Fair play to the lad who's gone to Bolton because he's gone, you know what? Fuck this. I'm 23 years old. I want to play football. So you tell me why Conor Coventry ain't doing it. He's playing for Ireland, international level, and he's sitting on the bench. It ain't because Moyes.
Probably because Moyes has probably said to him, James, he's back up to the backup. He's probably told him, you know what? you've got Stuchek and you've got Rice. Then I've got Noble. Then I've got you. Listen, it's not as far-fetched as what I think what you're making it out that Andy said.
If you had a choice between Robert Snodgrass or Colin Coventry, who would you have?
Doesn't matter because Snodgrass ain't with us anymore.
No, but I'm asking the question.
They decided to take the money.
Yeah, I know. Well, obviously, there you go.
But then you're Robert Snodgrass, and I turn around and say to you, you're back up to the backup, or you can go to West Brom.
He wanted
first team football.
Well, but so you just answered it yourself. Colin Coventry, right? He knows he ain't going to play, so why don't he want to go out on loan?
He's not being sold, mate. He's not being sold, is he? You've
Colin
just
Coventry
said he
won't be
doesn't
there
want to go
in 2
out on
years.
loan because he's getting cushy. You can't listen,
Yeah,
James. You're trying to get it both ways. You're trying
No,
to get it both ways. What really
Colin Coventry won't be there in 2 years. Right, let's go for it. Nathan Holland was the next big thing, right? Come down from Everton, I believe. Yeah, come from Everton, the next big hot prospect, right? He went to Oxford, done nothing at all, right?
Really?
I've seen him live over Dagenham and Redbridge, too lightweight. He done nothing at Oxford. No one else has come in for him. Why? Because he's not fancied, right? You got.
To be fair, he got quite unlucky with injury, didn't he, James? In fairness.
Yeah, but the way I look at it is everyone gets an injury. I agree, the injury was bad, but let's be honest here, right? He could have gone out on loan to somewhere else, and he hasn't. Right? Why? Like we've got 8 players out on loan. We've got Winston Reid out on loan, who's an ex-first teamer. Felipe Anderson out on loan, who's an ex-first teamer. Right? And then we've even got a player who's playing in the Irish First Division, St. Louis. So
Alfie Lewis.
Alfie Lewis. And so people are telling me that he's going to make it through West Ham playing from the Irish First Division. I'm sorry, but it doesn't work like that. The reason why they don't want to go out on loan because they've been handed a lot of money and they're thinking, fuck that for a laugh. I'm not going to Newcastle or going up to Hartlepool or living in Middlesbrough or fucking Blackburn. Do you know what I mean? Not for me. I'll stay at West Ham and I'll earn me money and I'll see if I can break into the first team this way. There you go.
Listen, I can't. Yeah, I've answered that one, Gatesy, with that.
Yeah.
I disagree. And listen, we can sit here and argue. And I find it interesting that we don't have players out on loan.
Right, Joke, I'm not. Listen, right, Andy sits there and he's telling me when Andy's never seen them live. I have. I've seen these people live. I've seen them multiple times. Right? They go to the local. They play in the local football club where I live. So I've got a pretty good assessment, I believe, of seeing these people in the flesh, not what I'm hearing and reading on Twitter and social media. So to me, if Colin Coventry was good, he'd be playing, right? And Noble wouldn't be playing, right? So we can't be saying that this man is ready to play.
But is he back up to the backup?
Yeah, but come on. He
back
ain't
up to the
get
backup wouldn't get him any game time, would it?
Exactly. There you go.
Thing is, if you're back up to the backup and you're a young pretender coming through, to me, I think, and this is just me trying to put myself in the shoes of a youth team player, and you know, if I was thinking about my career progression, I think I'd be saying, well, look, this is me. This is me. I appreciate this might not be your average youth team player at a Premier League club, but I would be saying, send me out on loan to as high a standard club as you can, but some way, somehow, surely you can insert a recall clause so that if the backup gets injured, you can recall me at a moment's notice. But that's me.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
What you're saying is get them out on loan and get them gone, and already our incredibly thin squad, which we've all discussed numerous times, that it is an incredibly shallow, thin, whatever you want to call it. It's a very it's fucking non-existent squad. What we're trying to do now is we're trying to take away even more players by fucking them off out on loan.
Yeah, but
because if we sent Trott out on loan, we sent Coventry out on loan, and we sent Meepo out on loan, I'm not quite sure how you're going to fill a bench.
No, I think I personally think Meepo needs to go out on loan.
If you put a recall
even
clause
now,
in,
mate,
you can.
Even now, you're still not going to fill a bench. We're having to go with Randolph and Trott. So what happens if we send out 7 players on loan? What happens next? We're going to recall all 7.
Can I say something though, right? How can we? What have you learnt from Coventry? Any of yous? Honestly, I'm being genuinely serious. There you go. Right, you've learnt nothing. He's been sitting on the bench. He hasn't even come on the pitch when we haven't had a central midfielder. Right? There's been people like Yarmolenko and Lanzini. Manuel Lanzini as a midfielder on Saturday against Chelsea. And if Coventry was on the bench, I don't know whether he was or not. But if he's on the bench, he plays that position for Ireland. Why is he not coming on? Obviously, Moyes don't fancy him. Another one. Like, I can't understand this way up of people can go, yeah, get Coventry in there. Get Coventry in there. Fuck me, I haven't seen him play. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what's going on here?
As I say, that's the thing. I would like to see him. Ideally, I'd like to see him play. But I mean, if he doesn't want to go out on loan, as I suspect now might be the case, I think that's completely ridiculous in my opinion. If that's the attitude of your common or garden youth player at a Premier League club, that I'd rather play under 23s football and maybe get on the bench as and when, rather than going out and testing myself. I just think that's a complete 21 now. He's 21 now.
So he's a year younger than Declan Rice.
Yeah,
and Declan Rice has been with us for 4 years.
Yeah. I'd say if that is the attitude of your modern youth player, as Simon Jordan seemed to suggest, I think that's a sad indictment of modern football. But then again, I'm an old git, so.
So, if we're talking about players that Moyes don't fancy, and we should just really then just ship them off, and we know where I'm going with this, what's the point in Ben Rama being at the club right now? If Moyes doesn't fancy him and he isn't using him, and I'm not digging, and I'm not trying to start a fight, I'm not starting a fucking fight.
12 starts, 7 wins, 4 draws, 1 loss. That's all I'm going to keep saying. And I'll keep pumping that propaganda out.
But he doesn't. I knew you were going to say that. I knew he was going to. I knew he was. No, I knew he was. He was going to say that.
I knew he was. He obviously doesn't fancy him, James. If he doesn't fancy him, what's the point in him being there?
Yeah, I said he don't fancy him. Yeah, he's never slagged off Ben Rama. He's never slagged off Ben Rama.
No, he hasn't. But then what's the argument? What's the argument for him not starting or not even getting game time?
Because he ain't Moyes' signing. That's the real reason. He's been brought in, and the stats don't lie. And I've gone through the stats with multiple people. I've gone through them with Andy. I've gone through them with Rob. I've gone through them with West Ham Online. I've gone through them, and they all match up the same, right? When he starts, we don't lose many games. We've lost 1, and that's against Liverpool at home, right? And them stats to me prove a lot. Do you know what I mean? He proves, and people say, what does he do? He ain't scored no goals. What he does, he takes 2 people on 1 player and leaves the space open for Lingard and Bowen. That's what he does. He does it very well. Moyes don't fancy him because he ain't Moyes' player. Simple as that. And it's the more I'm seeing it, I'm seeing
on him.
I think, and I said it to Rob recently, and I think James was there when I said it. I said he will be shipped out in January with a view to a permanent next summer. And you've heard it here. That's what's coming.
To be fair, months. I can see that. And that is exactly what would happen.
I can see him going in the summer.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
with
shocked.
the possibility of a swap with back to Brentford for Sunday with no cash involved. I can see it happening tomorrow. What is to do? Because
he won't go in the summer. He won't go in the summer.
He's just signed a permanent deal in January.
Yeah, that'd be
mental. Is it really grand scheme of things?
I could see him going in January.
Man, you were trying to get Lingard to sign a new contract, knowing damn well that all they're trying to do is increase his price. So
the thing is, in a roundabout way, has Moyes been given has Ben Rama been given the fair crack of the whip? If anyone believes he has, then they're deluded. because at the end of the day, when a man's coming on and trying to save the game every 5 minutes, when we're playing teams, right, and he's only getting 6 minutes here, 12 minutes there, the proof's in the pudding. From starting position, from starting lineup positions, he's lost one game. So,
I don't want him to be one of these I don't want him to be one of these former West Ham players who falls under the bracket of, we didn't really give him a chance. That's the thing.
No, I think he deserves to be given a chance. I think he's a great player, and I think he has absolute talent. But I just don't see. Yeah. I don't see why he won't be picked. I can't tell you. There's obviously something going on behind the scenes.
I'll ask James this: do you think he's been given the fair crack of the whip this season, considering the games he started?
Not really. Not right now. He's not. Not right now. He's not, because they're just putting him on when he needs to change a game. He's not doing it from the start.
I see something on Twitter or Facebook.
The thing is, James, I just think we as a club, can we afford to keep spending big money on players to then lose them 12 months, 24 months later at a loss? We've done it with we've done it with Haller. We're going to do it with Anderson. Ben Rama, 25 million quid. It's not an insignificant amount of money for a club of our stature, I think it's fair to say. We can't keep going down this road.
That's what I'm saying.
We simply can't. You know, we have to some way, somehow, it has to work, because that would be 3 signings in the space of 3 years or thereabouts, 3-4 years, that we've signed on big money, and each one of them gone at a loss. I mean, that would be. I would be asking serious questions there. I've got to be honest, but I do agree with you. I fundamentally, from the outside looking in, I think it's been a fairly well established fact that his number one signing was Eze, and he didn't get Eze. And I believe that Ben Rama was like we can't get him, but we can get him. Oh, okay. You know, and I just can't work out who was it that made the decision to spend 20 million quid 6 months ahead of schedule. We could have waited until this summer. We could have spent 2 million on making Dawson a permanent to free up the loan spot for Lingard. I don't know.
Watford wouldn't acquiesce to that request. Watford would not bow down to allowing us to make that permanent, knowing exactly how this was going to play out. So Watford said no to us signing Dawson there and then, because they knew how it was going to play out.
Do you think though it's justifiable?
Sorry?
I say, what advantage do they gain by not sort of like going with that? I don't quite get it, because they've got the 2 million quid either way. It's just that they've got it a little bit ahead of schedule.
It depends on who's in their ear roll, Gatesy, doesn't it? Grand scheme of things, yeah? It depends on who's in their ear roll with some little backhanded compliments.
That's a bang on comment. That's a bang on comment what Scott's just said.
He was scoring more goals.
Eze's getting the applaudits this year because he's playing every game. And that is a fact.
I know Ben Rama's still quality, but fans, I think, have gotten on his back a bit too much.
I
want nothing more than Ben Rama to be the player that I was hoping him to be when he walked through the door. I want nothing more than to see him score that first goal, run up to Moyes on the sideline and stick 2 fingers up at him and give him a hand signal. I want nothing more than Ben Rama to do it. I want Ben Rama to score the goal, run up to him, arms outstretched, give him the look, give him a wanker sign and walk off back onto the pitch. I want nothing more than Ben Rama to show exactly what he's capable of and to stick them 2 fingers up at Moyes. Because I personally think he's the most technically gifted player we've probably had. You know, Payet, Ravel, Di Canio. He's up there as a technically gifted player as any of those there. You know, he's on the ball. He's fantastic. His movement is, his link-up play with Linda. I'm not going to deny it. I think he's fantastic. But there's something going on behind the scenes. He's not being picked. Whether or not Moyes doesn't like him, whether or not he's not performing in training, whether he's not listening to the advice that Moyes is giving him about learning how to defend and to track a man. No, we didn't spend 25 million quid on a defensive player. No, I understand that, but we also didn't spend 40 million pounds on a defensive player in Anderson all them years ago, a number of years ago, for him to fucking foul like he has done. And he was another player that didn't listen.
Yeah, but Anderson for the first season, I think we can all agree he was good. The second season was the one where it killed him. Like the first season, he was decent. He come to the Premier League. The second season, this lad hasn't even finished the season yet, and people want him out the door. And I think that's a disgrace. I think that's a disgrace from the fan base.
I'm just going around.
No. What I'm saying is,
that's the problem.
People have turned around and said, you know what, he's no good. They don't fancy him and all that, and he hasn't even finished the season yet. And people are criticising him. When, let's be honest here, anyone who says he's had a fair crack of the whip this season, they're either got an agenda against him or they're deluded. It's as simple as that. Like the stats don't lie, and I know I keep saying it, and I'll keep saying it, and I'll keep pumping that propaganda. Right, I will, because at the end of the day, it's Moyes. Moyes doesn't fancy him because he wanted one player, didn't get him, and he's sulking. Simple as that.
No, I wouldn't go that far. Personally, I wouldn't go that far. That's me. I don't think Moyes is that kind of vindictive. I don't think Moyes would be that kind of person when he's got a player that is.
He can joke because he in the January window. I know when he got.
Hey, you're going to go with Zaha. I'm telling you now. If I caught one of them, if you see where I'm going with this, if that's your daughter. I'm not just not playing him. I'm fucking burying the cunt underneath the fucking centre circle. Pardon my French. That's what I'm going to do. Quite simple. Don't care who you are. I read something online earlier about Mr. Giggs. Innocent until proven guilty. As far as I'm concerned, the Giggs is a scumbag. Fucking his brother's daughter, his brother's wife. As far as I'm concerned, the Giggs is a scumbag. And he's capable of fucking anything, just like any of us are capable of anything. But
let me ask you this, Joe.
Proven guilty in this.
I want to ask you this.
He's that vindictive like that.
I'll ask you this: if someone comes in and bids £18 million for Saeed Benrahma, do you accept it?
No. Because we were taking a loss yet again.
Right, but if someone come in and bid £22 million. Would you accept it?
No.
Right. So explain to me then. You wouldn't accept it, but there's people who want him out the door and said he ain't good enough. How is that so?
Would I let him go if Brentford came in? Would I let him go if Brentford came in and offered us a straight swap for him and Ivan Toney all day long? Because I can see Ivan Toney playing and I can't see Benrahma playing. James, that's just the way it is. I can see Toney starting.
How much was Benrahma?
25 mil. 20 million pound and £5 million was a loan bill.
Yeah.
Right, so 25 million. So I'll say this then. If someone come in and bid 25 million for him, would you let him go?
No, I'll take the swap deal.
He's not having this 25 mil, is he? He's having this swap deal all day long.
Listen, I'd take the swap deal because we need a player that's going to play. And I don't know what they're going to spunk that £25 million on, to be honest with you. Ivan Toney will start every game up front, bar injuries for West Ham next season if we were to sign him. I have no doubt about that. If he's fit enough to play, he plays. Benrahma, on the other hand, fit enough to play whether or not it's an agenda, whether or not it's something that Moyes doesn't like, whether or not it's something that Moyes is not interested in. Benrahma doesn't start those games next season for me, unless he fucking pulls something out the bag miraculously and suddenly, he's got Moyes bent over in front of him for some reason. Then that's a different story. But for me, right now, I don't see Benrahma starting more than 15, 20 games next season in total. Whereas Ivan Toney, on the other hand, will be the ideal replacement for Mikel Antonio. So that, for me, that deal would make sense. Anything else, no. But that deal makes sense.
So let me ask you this, and probably sort of finish up on this, right? What do you expect to happen now come the end of the season? We've got 5 games to go. Do you expect Benrahma to start playing games now? Or do you expect him to be on the bench? Right, don't forget,
we're playing more than Benrahma to be playing.
Right, and we're up against teams who are more defensive-minded now, like your Burnleys, your West Broms, your Brightons, right?
It's a perfect chance for him.
I believe so. Agreed. Now, if he doesn't play at all, or doesn't start in any of these games for any reason, then surely questions need to be asked because of why. Because he is fit. The only thing I will say, and I said this earlier, is maybe the reason why he hasn't been playing, I don't know how this works with the religion, but in regards of Ramadan, right? If he's obviously, Ramadan's happening now. So
Fafana played it.
Yeah, but he played in the evening, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, fair point.
Yeah, it's something to do with daylight. I'm not sure. I'm not well up on it. So
you're not allowed to eat a drink or smoke until after sunset.
Yeah, so if he's playing games during the day and he's not eating and he's not drinking, obviously that's gonna wear anyone down. Right, and let's be honest, like you'd have to be superhuman. So for people to criticise the man, and he still hasn't really done a lot wrong, in my opinion, then it's either an agenda or they just do not like him for certain reasons.
Listen, who knows? I mean, like I said, I really would love to see nothing more, like I say, than Benrahma, to start on Monday, run to the halfway line in Moyes' face, stick 2 fingers up and celebrate in very much a Cristiano Ronaldo jump, throw the arms backwards, or even a Beckham against Greece when he stands there like that, and just in his face like, as a point proven. Or nothing more than that. Honest to God, I'd love to see the guy come good. I really would.
Or pretend to shag a ball and say, "This is your daughter."
Get a blow-up doll. Get a blow-up doll.
Oh, wait, he's not allowed to.
Who was he? Who was the geezer who used to run around with masks in his socks? Was he played for Fulham?
Gundo Saba.
Yeah, see, that'd be me. I'd pull out one of them self-inflating blow-up dolls out of my sock. I'd be wearing it like a shin pad. The ones you just press a button and it inflates instantly. That's what I'd be doing. And I'd stick to. I want nothing more than Benrahma to start these next 5 games. West Ham go on a run of 5 wins. Benrahma's involved in 7, 8, 9, 10 goals in them 5 games, be it scoring or assists. I want nothing more. I'd love for him to do it. I really would. Do I see it? Maybe not. Does Moyes fancy him? Probably not. Why? Does he not like him? Is he not performing in training? Is he not doing this? Is he not doing that? Listen, we can sit here and argue that until the cows come home, and fuck me, we have in the past. But it ain't us that's doing it, is it? It's Moyes, and it's Moyes' choices. Mr. Anvil, sign us out with something.
This has gone on for quite a while. I've been here 2 hours. I've only just noticed the time.
Right, this is what we do. It's not going to be 3 hours 45 minutes like the last one.
Yeah, whole Benrahma shit. We end up talking about Benrahma every single bloody video we do on here, and I get it. But thing is, like, he's a quality player, but I think he needs more game time. And him coming on in the last half an hour of a game isn't helping him, really, because what's that saying? You're just coming on to make a difference. He can make a difference from the start. Why not have him on at the start? You know what I'm saying?
And we won't be in that position.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. It's scary. It really is scary just how good the man is and how much he isn't trusted.
Technically, yeah.
Mr. Fever.
I don't know what else more I can say.
12-7-4-1, is that what it is?
What's that?
That's your 12741. Is that like your PIN number for your bank card now?
That most certainly isn't, mate. Because I don't say if you get into my bank account, you will see a minus and lots of notes. That's what you said. You know what I mean? It'll come up IOU money. You know what I mean? But we've decided Ben Rama thing. Listen, right? If a player doesn't perform, then he deserves criticism, in my opinion, right? And we're all man enough to admit when someone's not performing or doesn't do it or isn't pulling their weight. Now, for me, against Arsenal was the last time he started a game for West Ham, and we was phenomenal in that first 32 minutes. And for me, I know we haven't had a left back, and I know we've had to change the system, but there's been times in games where I'm sitting there watching the game, thinking he's coming on. It takes him 10 minutes to get on the pitch because they're going through everything with him. Now, as a professional footballer, and when you run a pub, you talk to your staff should know what they're doing beforehand. Not you got to tell them 10 minutes before they go on shift. Do you know what I mean? So it's, to me, I just don't think Moyes fancy him, in my opinion. I've always stuck with it, and I'll always keep sticking with it until the day he's either sold or he starts playing. I think that the criticism he gets is not fair. I don't believe that it's fair for a man who hasn't been given the fair crack of the whip, and he needs more game time, in my opinion. So that's me on Ben Rama. I will stick by Ben Rama until there's a time where I think, you know what, and I'm a big enough man to admit it, if he doesn't perform and he doesn't do it, I'll hold my hands up and say, you know what, he wasn't good enough.
As I said, I want nothing more than it become good, mate. I really do. You know what? I'd love to sit here and give you the floor at the end of the season when he does exactly what I just said I'd love him to do. Play the 5 games, be involved in the 10 goals, be involved in, the 5 wins, and let you have the floor and run riot. Honest to God, I'd have nothing, but I'd love it. I'd let you run with it, and I would. There'd be no two ways about it, mate, because I'd let you have your moment in the sun, because you've done nothing but champion that guy forever and a day. But I just don't see Moyes fancying it. I really don't. And that's the sad part of the situation. Mr. Gates, your opinion there, sir?
I think I'm on record as saying it, and James knows what I'm about to say. He needs a run of a minimum of 6 games, maximum of 10, where he is playing 70 minutes minimum in each.
Yep.
If at the end of that, his stats are still not good enough, what you would expect out of a Premier League player that you've spent 25 mil from the Championship, then I'll be the first to say, listen, he ain't up to the mark, and we need to move him on. But the fact of the matter is that's not where we're at. Now, the reasons why, again, and you've said it, is it something that Moyes is seeing in training? Is it, this? Is it that? We as the paying supporters from the outside looking in, we simply do not know. That's the only way that we can know, is if he was to play 10 games consecutively and he played a minimum of 70 minutes a time, and if at the end of that he'd scored 0 goals, 0 assists, and contributed bugger all as far as our offensive stats are concerned, then you'd have to say, listen, you've had a go and you're not up to it. But we need to make this work. Like I say, we cannot keep spending big money on players coming in like Sebastian Haller, losing him for what, £23 million loss. Anderson, we're probably going to lose for a ridiculous loss there. We can't keep spending money and losing money. That's not sustainable for a club like us. We're not Man City. We're not Chelsea. We're not bankrolled by multi-billionaire oligarchs. We're West Ham United that are bankrolled by a couple of porn barons. It's a completely different level. So some way or somehow this has to work. Simple as. So, and as for all of the exhaustive conversations that I had with substitutes, it's all bollocks. Because I'll tell you now, and I've had it from a professional player, there's only 3 things that a pro player wants to know when they are coming on as a substitute. Number 1, where do you want me when we're attacking? Number 2, where do you want me when we are defending? Number 3, who am I picking up at set pieces? That's it.
Yeah, he doesn't need a full, biographical detail.
They're the only 3 things a pro player needs to know when they're coming on as a sub.
Yeah.
Where am I when we've got the ball attacking? Where am I when we're out of possession and defending? Who am I picking up at a set piece? Done.
But surely, though, Rob, wouldn't you agree? They would know that at half time. Like at half time, they would go, you know what?
Of course they would.
Right, you're going to come on in the second half at some point.
They might just give them a quick sort of recap of it. Maybe that would be fine. But a lot of these conversations take fucking 5-10 minutes. You're like, that conversation could be had in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, just get on the pitch, basically.
Like James says, though, they could have had that conversation with him at half time. So when it comes to him being on the pitch, bosh on you, go do kind of thing. I'm not being funny. It could be a conversation that's had before he even goes to warm up. Listen, son, we're going to get you on in a minute. Go get yourself some warm up. First of all, this is where this. Away you go. Warm up. Get on that fucking pitch and go do.
I just want to ask something to all of you, right? And I just want a straight yes or no answer. Do you think Moyes is giving him any confidence at all?
No.
No, the comments in the chat here. Kieran says it. Moyes' body language towards him ain't good, and then Scott says that, he has his arm around Lingard when they come off the pitch. And from what I've seen when he does, when Benrahma does come off the pitch, be it as a sub, be it at the end of the game when he's coming off the pitch at full time, Moyes makes a beeline for certain players. Moyes makes a beeline for the likes of Souček, Rice, knows if he's on the pitch, certainly Jesse, but doesn't tend to gravitate towards Benrahma, and I don't know why. Again, I don't think he's giving him. Do
you think? Right, this is just a theory. Do you think that he's doing that in a way that if it does, he wants it to go wrong with Benrahma, so he can go to the owners? I told you so. Because that is how it seems like to me. It seems like he wants this to happen. And I don't know if anyone in the chat agrees with me or if I'm talking bollocks, right? But it just seems like at the end of the day, Benrahma's not doing it. So the fans are on the case, and basically people are turning around and saying, well, he's saying, well, look, I told you, you should have got me Eze.
Maybe.
James, do you want to take that one?
Maybe. I think, Eze was Moyes' preferred target anyway. But I think Benrahma's better than Eze.
Yeah, I believe he is and all. I think he's phenomenal.
Gatesy, you?
Listen, we can sit here and we can say Eze, Benrahma, the old saying, you can only piss with the cock you got, right? We've got Benrahma. Whether we like it, whether we don't.
What I'm saying.
Oh, I love that, Gatesy. I love that, man.
You can only piss with the cock you've got.
I'm going to remember that one, and next time my missus starts, I'm going to say this.
Yeah, you can only piss with the cock you've got, ladies and gentlemen. Right? You might want a 15 once between your legs, but you might have to put up with a 3-incher when it's cold. But it is what it is. You can only piss with the cock you've got. We've got Benrahma. We can sit here and go, Eze, maybe we should have had him. But we've got him, and we got to make it work.
Yeah,
simple as.
Yeah, I agree with that. No.
And those in the chat, they like my saying. Do you
know what? If I'm on here next Tuesday, right, and I've got a big black eye, you know what's happened.
Gatesy, do you reckon you could get that as a hashtag in in the link in the description about the video. Piss hashtag
I
piss
think
for
I
the
could.
cock you got.
I could manage it. Mind you, the way Twitter have been lately, I'd probably get a sort of like a ban and for some sort of violation that doesn't exist.
Yeah, well, listen, at the end of the day, is it Twitter or is it people reporting certain comments?
But you know,
I can't see what.
and I won't go into the specifics of the situation we're talking about because that's not fair.
No.
But there's someone that we know and is a good friend of ours that has had a sort of a fairly raw deal from Twitter, in my opinion. And if this person had said something or wrote something that was against the rules that he's apparently meant to have contravened, then I'd say fair enough. But I've read and I've reread and I've reread the tweet that this individual put out and the rules that he's meant to have broken. And I'm just like, I can't see where you have. You've not threatened violence. You've not threatened, you know, anything of that nature. Why are you having a 7-day ban? You know, what do you do?
Serial offenders.
There you go.
But yeah.
That's my saying, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a trademark on that. My lawyers are watching.
No worries. Right, Gatesy, do you want to do your traditional ending to any of our videos?
Okay,
mate?
yeah. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. For those of you that are in the live chat, I've just popped it out on the live chat. So if any of you want to have a look at that, you can. For those of you that are not familiar with this particular ending, here it is. So Isla Caton, we at Forge from Iron and the wider West Ham YouTube community would endorse this campaign. She's a 6-year-old girl, guys, and she's fighting for her life. No other way I can put this. She's literally fighting the fight of her life for her life. She's got neuroblastoma. This is a cancer that affects children in the main. It's really aggressive, and there ain't no cure for this in this country. There's no treatment for this in the NHS. So in the middle of a global pandemic, just imagine this. Your 6-year-old daughter, you've got to take her on a plane to wherever it is you got to go, and you got to try and get the treatment that's hopefully going to save her life. So you've got to pay for the flights, you've got to pay for the treatment, you've got to pay for the accommodation, all of that. The bills are still coming in the UK. I think you can probably work it out, guys. This is absolute hell on earth. And this family need us. Whether you're a West Ham fan, whether you're a football fan, if you're a decent human being, guys, this is where we would ask you to put your spare change. You've got a PayPal, you've got a Just Giving. No donations too small. Anything from £1 upward will be gratefully accepted. Whether you can or can't donate, all we would ask you to do as well as that is to take what's on this banner, share it on your social media platforms, send it to your friends, send it to your work colleagues, your family, the old woman down the bottom of the road with about 25 cats and she stinks of piss when she walks past you. All of that, just send it to, you know, the bloke that nicked your lawnmower and said he'd borrow it and he didn't bring it back. You know, all of those, right? Send it out there, get it out there, because we need to keep this momentum going, guys, because with every single day that goes past where this little girl hasn't got the treatment, things are getting more grim, you know, and we need to try and make sure that this girl has a happy outcome. Real simple. Over to you.
I want my lawnmower back, Gatesy. Just let you know.
Sorry, mate. I'll bring it back, honestly. Promise.
We were talking about this a few weeks ago, Gatesy. I am just waiting. Just waiting to get paid, and then my £100 as part of my promise and my pledge to hit the subscribers will be going in. Shout out to James over here and his channel Hammers Poles over on YouTube. Give them guys a shout out, and the man directly below me, James from the Anvil. Woo-hoo. That way. I'm here. He has his own YouTube channel. Boys, I mean, listen, you guys have been fantastic in supporting us, getting us off the ground. So I thank you, and you know, we'll tag you when Gatesy does all of his social media craft. after all of this. It will certainly be tagging both of your pages in on the
Thanks. Yeah.
On the post that go out as a thank you to you guys. Yes, Simon, you and Scott do need to go back to work. It'd be amazing because I'm getting really depressed seeing you guys back on the courses near enough every single day. I don't play golf. I just like to go walk around the course for a couple of hours just to have a day off.
I do mine. Yeah, I'm going to do mine after I've done this.
Oh, I am?
Yeah.
What are you doing tonight, buddy?
Me? Oh, well, I live on a golf course, so I'm going to probably walk it. It's shit outside. Yeah, I actually live on an actual golf course, like outside. Can't really see it.
Right, Simon and Scott will be on their way to you. They're going to come and stay with you for a little while, I think. If you're living on a golf course, they'd love a bit of that. Simon, I apologise. You're just enjoying your golfing while you can. And Scott, enjoy Designated Survivor. Boys, I'm going to call it a day there. It's been a pleasure. I have a 2-pint glass of pause sitting downstairs for me. So I am going to scoot straight out and grab that. It's been a pleasure, as always. Thank you to Andy for joining me, for James and James for joining me, and my co-host down in that corner. There he is. Father Christmas himself.
Before you go,
what's that? It's just a white.
I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it. All right. Okay. Right. That's the £100 for Isla that I've just shipped out because I got paid today. And you just reminded me. So a deal's a deal. We got to 300 subscribers. So that's my £100 that I've just sent through on PayPal. So I'm a man of my word. There it is.
Yeah,
so,
I
hope it makes a dent.
Hopefully a couple of weeks. You know what? If all of us keep coming together, and it's not just us here, obviously at Falls from Iron, but like we say, Poles, Anvil, you've got Ben Glander, you've got Hammer's Chat, you've got West Ham TV, you've got Irons. I was about to come to him. You've got this guy, absolutely outstanding group of channels that we've got that are, all fighting for the same thing. And that's to help Isla and the family. So, guys, on to Monday. It just feels like forever when we don't play at the weekend. I hate it. But you know what? We'll have a better judge of where we are and what we need to do come Monday for kickoff. So, I was Duke. That was Gatesy. These boys have been our guests. We are Falls from Iron. And seeing as he's not here, I'll take the first bit. We are fucking massive. And Gatesy, what else we got to say?
Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons. Boys, take care. I shall see you all again very soon.
You will indeed. Thanks very much.